Hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. You may hear a train in the background, but that's part of the charm of this apartment, that you hear the sounds of the city. It kind of is reminiscent of a New York apartment, but it's not. It's Kat's apartment, and it's her inner sanctuary that I'm going to take you in today and show you how she lives here on a very, very modest budget, but she says she's living her best life. As you enter Kat's beautifully appointed apartment, you would never think this is the apartment of a woman who lived in a trailer for 4 years on the streets scraping by. She reveals something that actually might be shocking to many, and that is that living on the streets in that trailer was actually more expensive than living in her current low-income apartment. I know, hard to believe, isn't it? Kat actually went in the hole every month, living on barely $1,100 from Social Security, and as a result, had to do what so many seniors now are doing, and that is putting her basic necessities on a credit card, thereby going into debt more and more each month with little hope of coming out of the hole that she was falling into each month financially. Well, Kat's life changed dramatically when she was able to move into this low-income apartment. She was even able to bring a few of her beautiful pieces that she had in storage from a different time in her life. Kat is going to share some of her budget and how she lives for less than $1,200 a month in one of the most expensive areas in the entire country. Well, hello again, Kat.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Well, since we're going to be talking about your finances and how you live in one of the most expensive cities and areas in the entire country, on how much do you receive per month for Social Security?
$1,136 a month.
So less than $1,150 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And you're not that far from some of the main attractions in Southern California.
No, I got the beach.
All right. Well, we're going to do it at your desk, although you told me, you've educated me and told me it's not a desk, it's a break front. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, I've got a little education today. The surprising thing to me is how you shared that your expenses are actually less now that you're in a low-income apartment than they were when you were living on the street in your trailer.
Yeah, and the trailer is very expensive to run. People think, oh, you're living on the side of the road, and it's free. It isn't free. There are a lot of expenses that I had to pay for just to keep my trailer and truck running every day.
I was looking at, you gave me a list, and you had drinking water.
Right.
You had regular water for showers and your toilet.
Yes, I had a 40-gallon tank in my trailer.
And then you had propane.
Mm-hmm.
Plus you had dump fees.
Yeah, $10 a week I had to pay that.
So, and then you had a storage unit.
Yes. And we downsized, believe it or not.
And that was $213 a month.
Yes.
So with all of that, plus at that point you had animals, and that was another about $75 a month.
Yeah, I take care of my animals.
But you don't have that expense anymore. But based on that, you were telling me your expenses were, am I correct in saying $1,257 a month?
Yes, I was always living very close to the edge. If something major came up, it was sometimes a major catastrophe for me. So
you were, at that point, you were only getting $1,109 a month.
Right.
But your expenses were $1,257.
Mm-hmm. And then I had to use my credit card to supplement what I was short.
So every month you were $148 in the hole.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that meant, so over 4 years, every month, you're charging more, paying a little, charging more, paying a little. So each month,
girls, we learned, charge it.
Well, unfortunately, more and more seniors, even
Yeah.
over the age of 75 now, have thousands of dollars in credit card debt.
Yes, they do.
And it's because of having to use your credit card to basically live by basic expense, pay for basic expenses rather.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do because as you bring that credit card bill up, then you owe more. So you're building yourself into a debt all the time.
And you're digging yourself into a hole that it's very difficult to get out of, because right now that's one of your biggest monthly expenses now, other than rent, is your credit card bill.
Yeah, my interest is pretty high on that credit card, and that's what I'm paying basically is interest.
We were trying to figure out how to go over this so it made sense. So I'm going to just hold on to the list that you gave me and basically ask you questions. I think that's the easiest way for people to understand. But when you were living in your trailer, basically you had no money left over for food. Your expenses didn't include your food.
No, they didn't, but I did have EBT and I did have flex food for my insurance company.
So EBT is like food stamps or SNAP.
Right.
But you were only getting $67 a month.
Yes.
So after all of your expenses, you got $67 a month for SNAP. But then you did share that you were getting, I think you said through your insurance, and this is something a lot of people don't know, depending on the insurance coverage that you have, you're getting what's called a flex card. So you got one flex card, but that flex card had two different separate balances.
Yes, one for over the counter and one for food.
So it was $100 for food, but I looked it up and it's supposed to be, according to what I looked up, produce and healthy foods.
Yes, you can't buy junk food with it.
So it's very restrictive. And the other is $100 for over the counter, but basically, given your illnesses, you were using a lot of that on, you were telling me, vitamins and supplements. Do you want to explain that?
I have colon cancer, and so nutrients was one of my biggest issues I was facing in deficits. So I'm a beach bunny, and I had a vitamin D deficiency.
Okay.
And so we had to supplement to keep the nutrients in me.
So that wasn't fun money. It was for necessities.
Yes.
And also, we won't go into details, but because of the colon problem, you were going through massive numbers of wipes.
20 packages a month.
So that supplemented those two items for you.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's talk about now what your budget is now. So now you do get a little bit more.
Not much.
In Social Security income, which is what you were saying, which is what now?
$1,136 now.
About $17, $18 more a month.
I'm rich.
Oh my gosh. But because of the things that you don't have to pay for now, like the storage.
Yeah, that was a big issue for me because it was $213 a month for storage. So that helped me a lot moving in this house, that I have a little bit more to play with. Not much, but a little bit more.
So you downsized and got rid of a lot of things.
Yes.
But I see that you still have some of your beautiful pieces. You have three pieces.
That's all I kept. I didn't want this house to be jungled up, you know?
Yeah.
And we had big furniture. And so I only kept a couple pieces of the dining room set. My tables fit 12, and I kept 2 chairs.
But you were able to keep these things, and that's one of the things that makes it you. You kept part of your old life, but you're moving into your new life.
I didn't want the past a lot. I wanted to start fresh and be me again.
Okay. Now, your current monthly budget is $1136.
Right.
And your expenditures now, with all of the things that you don't have to pay for the trailers, or the trailer rather, is $974.98.
Yes.
So that leaves you we figured it out, $161. Mm-hmm. But with that,
I bought furniture.
You bought a few things,
Yeah.
but that's not money that's for frivolous things. If you have to get your car serviced, or if you need tires, or you said there's some medical expenses and appointments, certain things aren't covered that you have to cover. And so that may sound like a lot, but it's not. And also, you still have to pay for things like you were saying, paper towels, toilet paper, detergent, cleaning supplies.
Right, my dry goods.
Yeah, because the Flex card doesn't cover that. It's restricted. So you still are on a very, very tight budget.
Yeah, in 2 months I have my car registration due again. That's going to take up a whole month.
Yeah, in some states it's like $36. I know someone was in Illinois or something. It's
Not
really
in California.
No, up here it's like, I think mine is $600 or $700. I mean, it's crazy. So, but you're managing. So you were telling me you do some other things, like when you were living in the trailer, you would do what when you ran out of money?
I use my credit card to pay for things. I take the soaps and I make them last long by watering everything down. Shampoos get watered down. If I get watered down, it's going to get watered down in the last 3 months.
And you were saying also when you were in the trailer, you would maybe not go to the dump on a regular basis.
There were times where if the money was too tight that I would have to sacrifice and not do, full propane tanks, half propane, and hope for the best, half generated gas, half dump fees, because all that adds up. Just the gas to take my truck and trailer to the dump was a fortune.
So people who think that living in an RV can be a lot cheaper, it's not always as cheap as people may think.
No, there's a lot of expenses that you have to pay for just to keep normal, what you have in a house, the water, the, electricity, everything running. So
now you were telling me your current expenses, your rent is $326?
$326 every month.
But it's going up.
Yes.
To $331.
Yeah.
Okay, so part of what you get,
Social Security went up, so does my rent.
Okay. And you do have one luxury, which is cable, but you don't go to the movies, you don't go out, eating steak dinners, but it's a discount of only $30 a month as a senior.
Yeah. So I used as many discounts as I could possibly use.
And you're still paying the $100 a month for the couple who helped you when your truck broke down.
Yes, they're the first people I paid just out of respect.
And then you've got your credit card, which is substantial.
I think that's one of my biggest expenses right now is my credit card bill.
And so basically paring your expenses down to $974 a month. And thanks to this wonderful, beautiful apartment that you have been blessed with.
Yeah, and I love this place. And it has given me a chance to live a little bit again. In the trailer, I wasn't really living, I was existing. Now, like today, I went for a walk on the beach and saw dolphins. So I get to do that now.
So what are some other things you do to keep your expenses down? I know you were telling me you don't go to big expensive meals. You might go. You were telling me that sometimes you might go to, maybe once a month, you might go to get the $6 special at IHOP.
I know every special there is to get there, and I try not to spend over $5 and $6 per meal.
And sometimes you might go for coffee or a donut with someone.
Yeah.
And that's your treat.
Those are my little treats. It's called living again. That's what I wanted to do. It was part of my goals when I got this place.
So do you feel deprived?
No, I don't feel deprived. I feel blessed. I have a warm place and I can heal. And that's the biggest thing for me, is being able to heal in a nice place instead of a trailer that's rocking and you've got to lift these heavy gallons of water and propane things all the time, even though you're sick. It's been a blessing for me.
And in this place, your rent includes your utilities.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. And I have got the most beautiful apartment. It's my home now. Right. It's not just an apartment. It's just not a thing. It's my home.
And I see a lot of people stopping by saying hi and how are you doing? And you just have a steady flow of people who come and say hello, and you keep your door open.
I do keep my door open, and I still do all my stuff I do with the homeless. Like today we had shipment of Panera bread, and I'm passing it out to people in need. Dog food, clothes. I'm still keeping up with that part of it.
So it is a community here.
Yes, it is.
And people seem to look out for each other.
Yeah, we're pretty good. They take care of me when I'm sick, or they check on me, and everybody comes and talks. And I always think my door is like the Lucy door, because they're on one side and I'm on the other side.
But so you feel like you were telling me that you're living your best life right now, starting over.
Yeah, I am. And the biggest issue is to become me again. And that's the hardest part, because I lived for 4 years, I lived always on edge, always having to worry about where things are going. Who was that? I feel safe, leaving my door open. I feel safe here. And the people are, even though they're just like me, we all went through something. We're grateful that we have this place.
Wow. So what I'm hearing from you more than anything else is gratitude, and not looking at what you lost, but being grateful for what you now have.
Yeah, and losing was a hard loss. I fell fast.
So you're basically living on less than $1,000 in terms of absolute hard expenses, right. But variables, it really goes up to the full amount that you get every month.
Yes.
So can you just go into just a tiny bit more about why you say you feel safe and more secure here?
Well, living in the trailer, you were always on edge. You never knew what you would wake up to, what was happening outside, and it was always out of your control. Mm-hmm. You just had to go with it and hope for the best. And here, you're very secure. You feel like this is where you belong. Mm-hmm. And I like that part of it. Okay,
well, it seems like you do belong here.
Yeah.
And I would say the other residents definitely feel like you belong here.
Yes.
One of the things I did want to address in this video is some comments, people saying, well, where are her sons? Why aren't they helping her? Where are they? I would help my mom. And you were very clear that when you were on the streets, your sons did help you.
Yes. They did, and I tried not to have to ask unless it was absolutely necessary, because they have their own lives right now and they're struggling, and California is very expensive to live, and they're working 2 jobs, plus trying to raise their families, but they never not said no. If I needed the money, it was always there.
And as far as you staying with them, first of all, you were sharing that at that time they did not have the space for you to park your trailer. And if you had left your trailer unattended, what would have happened to it?
Well, I've watched the homeless, and I've watched the people tow it. I've watched other cars. I've watched them take over and vandalize. And if I had left for an hour, 2 hours, it would have been history.
Yeah, so you could not very well have gone to even sleep on a couch. People are saying, well, why couldn't you even sleep on a couch? You couldn't have gone and slept on a couch and left your trailer. You wouldn't have had a trailer to come back to.
My kids don't like my story.
But you would not have had a trailer to come back to.
No, I would not have. But when Danny died, they took me down to Santee. They set me up for a whole month, paid for it, the whole works.
Okay, so we just want to put that to rest, so I won't keep getting these questions about your sons.
Yeah.
All right, well, you know what? We may do another update, I don't know, maybe in 6 months, maybe a year, and see how things are going along, if you've gotten your golden. But then
That's the next goal.
But then you'll have to spend about $75 of your...
I have never been without an animal. I have no animals right now, and it's hard.
Okay, all right. Well, you'll just have to pare down a little bit more.
Yes. Water that dish some more.
Okay. All right. Well, Kat, thank you so much. And we'll catch up with you down the road, as they say.
Okay. Have a golden day.
Okay. Bye-bye.